Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, November 27, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what this has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Taking a look at the Global Tropics Hazards Outlook from the US Climate Prediction Center that just came out last Tuesday, November 25. As you can see here, they're advertising or highlighting or predicting that for the time period from December 3rd to December 9, as well as the time period from December 10th to December 16. This is what is going to be taking place across the Caribbean. We see the Caribbean shaded in some light shades of greens, and if we take a look at the key on the bottom left, the light shades of greens represents a 50% chance of above normal precipitation. We even see some greens in there across the main development region, which represents maybe a 65% chance of rainfall probability above average. We even see the red and white patterns. They're back at it again across not only the Indian Ocean for the December 3rd to December 9 time frame, but even the Western Pacific right here in and around the Philippines, the west of there, east of Vietnam, and even the next time period as well has the same forecast for sure. So boy, they can't catch a break over there by the Philippines and Vietnam. They've just been getting storm after storm after storm, and looks like they have a lot more to get even as we head into December. But regarding what's happening here across the Atlantic, the latest update here from the US National Hurricane Center, the 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook right here that just came out at 6:23 p.m. shows that tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days, and this is the reason why nothing really across the Atlantic trying to develop at all. Frontal system of the east coast of the US down into the Gulf. Lots of troughing, a lot of strong thunderstorm activity affecting Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. We've been talking about this for the past couple of days. Intertropical convergence zone still lighting up right here just to the southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. So nothing really, significant. Some thunderstorms here and there just to the northeast of the Leeward Islands associated with a trough. Nothing trying to acquire the next name on the list, which is Nestor. And given that we only have a few days left in November, doesn't seem like that's going to be happening. Even although, we can get systems to form in December, but let us see what actually takes place if something actually, acquires that name. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see a trough right here across the northwestern Caribbean extending into portions of northwestern Cuba. Frontal system that we mentioned as represented by the blue spike line off the east coast of the US down into the Gulf. We can also note some troughs right here as represented by the broken orange lines. Right here to the northwest of the Cabo Verde Islands, a frontal system right here just to the north of those troughs, and to the west of that frontal system another trough right in here. And as you know, we have a ridge of high pressure right there to the north that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region through the Caribbean. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost the sunlight, we can make out the clouds associated with that frontal system even better. There is we have numerous troughs somewhere up in here, frontal system right in here, intertropical convergence zone right in here, where the clouds pile up because the air from the northern hemisphere meets the air from the southern hemisphere. So we have a lot of rising air clouds, showers and thunderstorms right over here. So it all makes sense, and you can definitely make out that low level to mid level flow of the clouds being steered from east to west, all courtesy of that ridge of high pressure with that counterclockwise, or is that a clockwise flow? Clockwise flow around the area for sure. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean to the later on. Let us focus our attention on what took place across Jamaica for today. So, for the entire week, it was predicted I would have been receiving drier than average conditions, but we've been getting in on the usual afternoon thunderstorm activity in and around the cockpit country. So, northern St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, southern St. James, southern Trelawney. That definitely took place on Wednesday afternoon, and it took place on Thursday afternoon as well. Look at the clouds piling up across sections of Westmoreland, intersection of northern St. Elizabeth, even as far as northern, maybe northwestern Manchester. Far southern St. James, southwestern Trelawney definitely got on some of the thunderstorm activity too. And we can see the infrared confirming the thunderstorms even better. All of the blues into the greens represents that cumulonimbus thunderstorm, cloud cover, cumulonimbus condition. Then, as you can see, the upper level wind shear is blowing those clouds up south towards the east, and we can make out the sparkling white dots in there that we know represent somewhat of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes, especially across the cockpit country. So they've definitely been getting on some rainfall, and that is a good thing given how dry over there looks. Remember what Melissa did? It definitely stripped most of the trees of their leaves, and boy, that is just a huge fire hazard. In general, we don't want a huge massive fire to take place over there in the cockpit country. So yes, bring on the rain so that the area can start greening back up, even although it's a bit too soon for the rain, considering that there are still so many persons without a proper shelter, boy. Alright, so moving on, the Jamaican Doppler radar imagery is still down, unfortunately, but at least we have the live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel showing us Outages in St. Anthony. As you can see, clear blue skies, some partly cloudy conditions, nothing significant, no bad weather today, people in their vehicles going about their business, people in the shade right here, going about their business as well. And if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit C Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. So subscribe today to this channel so that you don't miss out. Alright, so regarding the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map paints quite the picture of where we had that rainfall today, Westmoreland to northern St. Elizabeth for sure. And the infrared right here, we're going to be reloading it. The latest Cuban Doppler radar, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar. Let us see what's happening across the area right now. Alright, the latest still image here from the Weather News website. It's showing 23:45 UTC, which is actually 6:45 p.m. So this just came out 9 minutes ago, considering that it is 6:54 p.m. right now. And as you can see, still have some leftover clouds across sections of Westmoreland to St. Elizabeth, southern Trelawney. Cloud toss being pushed off into maybe southwestern St. Anne. There could definitely still be some rainfall down in here for sure. Unfortunately, the Jamaican Doppler radar is down, so we can't see if that's true. The Cuban Doppler radar is up and running, showing all the way up to 6:40 p.m. As you can see here, we have a lot of colors, we have a lot of mixture of ground clutter, but we can make out the rainfall out to see just to the south of Westmoreland, maybe sections of St. Elizabeth as well, to confirm what we're seeing underneath these clouds for sure. The Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, not showing much of anything across northeastern Jamaica or the western peninsula of Haiti. We can make out some blues into the greens across sections of southeastern Cuba. Some light to moderate rainfall here and there. The Cayman radar still down, so boy, the Cayman radar, Jamaican Doppler radar is still down, but thankfully we have the Guantanamo Bay radar and the Cuban Doppler radar to let us see what's happening across the island. Regarding the live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel, as you can see here, halfway through in St. Andrew, we have people going about their business. Definitely dry conditions taking place here in halfway through. Nothing in the way of bad weather at all, and that should be the order of the evening into the night. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see about 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Friday, temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Friday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Friday, and we can see Jamaica right here embedded in degrees that represents average temperatures. I will know the average temperature for the month of November across Jamaica is around 88 degrees Fahrenheit, and when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 31.1 degrees Celsius. So that should be Jamaica's temperature for Friday for the most part. And as you can see here, we still have a lot of work going on according to my JPS online Twitter page. So yeah, people are still in the process of being getting back their power in general, being restored, getting back on the grid. I have a lot of posts here and there, but nothing pertaining any maintenance outage advisories for us here in the east at all. I have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual though. It states here, seek shade when outside. Eat fresh, try eating cold foods such as salads and fruits. Rest, make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak, take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. The yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites, the those. We see a lot of dry air off the northwestern coast of Africa, the northern portion of North Atlantic, all the way down to the Caribbean, off the east coast of the US down into the Gulf. The dry air, as you know, is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain in general. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast, we're heading into November 28, November 29, and November 30. And as you can see here, yes, we're going to be having some Saharan dust pushing through the main development region over the next 3 days. But the more it pushes westward, the more it dwindles down. And that's what we want. We don't want the greens into the yellows into the oranges that represents the Saharan dust coming into the Caribbean intact, because you know that the Saharan dust can definitely cause hazy skies, not to mention trigger respiratory illnesses in some persons. So we don't need any of that right now. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, we're seeing that frontal system of the east coast of the US is definitely going to be churning up the seas because of the strong winds that are behind that frontal system. So you see the dark blues into the purples, into the pinks, into the burgundies. That, as you know, represents up to 2 to 2.5, maybe even up to 3 meter wave heights. You even see the usual crazy wave heights right here to the far south of Jamaica, and that is because of the winds. We see that strong northerly, if not northeasterly flow of the wind across the Gulf, across Florida, averaging anywhere from 20 to 25, maybe even up to 30 knots. Definitely something similar right here to the north of Panama and Colombia, but a bit less. And it explains why the waves are so high. But regarding Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow, to the north of Portland, 1 meter wave height. To the south of St. Thomas, 1.3 meter wave height expected. To the south of Clarendon tomorrow, 0.8 of a meter wave height expected. But as you know, the further out they go, the wave height will be on the increase. 0.7 of a meter wave height to the north of St. Anne tomorrow. To the north of Hanover, 0.5 of a meter wave height expected, while to the south of Westmoreland, 0.6 of a meter wave height expected. And that is because of the winds that are expected. Look at what we're expecting tomorrow. It looks like more of a northerly, if not a northeasterly flow right here on the north coast tomorrow, averaging about 8 knots right here to the north of Hanover, about 4 knots right here to the northeast of Portland. And we definitely have weak winds right here on the south coast. So that is where we could have some of these low-level clouds piling up for us to get some daytime heating rainfall. Upper-level winds coming in from the southwest tomorrow. So unlike today, where when we had that thunderstorm activity, the cloud tops are being sheared out towards the east, it's going to be pushed out towards the northeast. Definitely bring more overcast skies to section of some northern parishes. But regarding the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 4 p.m. on Friday. And as you can see, sections of central and western parishes in Jamaica are shaded in the blues that represent rainfall. So expect some rainfall if you're in some of these areas. Maybe sections of St. Anne, Clarendon, Manchester, Trelawney, maybe St. Elizabeth. The Euro trying to incorporate portions of Westmoreland and Hanover in there, even section of Kingston, St. Andrew. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted if that occurs. Even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps are showing that's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. Not really a strong signal, but we see the slight shades of green representing up to 0.11 of an inch of rainfall here on the Euro. GFS on 0.04. Definitely a low, confidence in terms of the rainfall forecast, which explains why we haven't been posting videos. There's not much of a high confidence. I'm sure you don't see much rainfall, much clouds across the island for the past couple of days. Nothing really on the north coast. It's mainly just right there on the western edge, maybe Westmoreland to St. Elizabeth, especially where we have that cockpit country. And we're in the month of November. We're wrapping it up though, and as you can see, we're about to fall off in terms of the rainfall indefinitely as we head into the dry season in December. So in St. Andrew, you receive 137 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about the same as 5.4 inches of rainfall. While in Westmoreland, we usually receive 105 millimeters of rainfall this month. That is about the same as 4.1 inches of rainfall. And if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of November or for the entire year, you can visit nomadseason.com, and that website will show you that information. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go out to the next 168 hours. That's just the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. Alright, so as you can see here, we have some slight shades of greens that represent some rainfall right here into St. Mary, Portland. That's for Saturday morning. 12Z is actually 7 a.m. Then as we head into Saturday afternoon, we see some dots of greens across the southern and western parishes. As a matter of fact, if you remember the videos from earlier this week, Saturday had the highest signal for rainfall, but look how there have been changes to the forecast. This is why we have to stay updated. Earlier in the week, it looked like Saturday would have been a crazy wet day. Now it's looking like it's only maybe some isolated shower activity. Let's see. Saturday morning on the Euro, northeastern parishes. Saturday afternoon, it looks like eastern, central, and western parishes. So we have some differences, some contrasts here on the Euro and the GFS. Euro has a low signal for rainfall, but it's there. GFS has a high signal for rainfall. I mean, the entire island is shaded in the greens. What do we see for Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon on the Euro? Sunday morning on the Euro, we have a lot of rainfall to the north, south, and east, especially the east of the island. Sunday afternoon on the Euro has Jamaica shaded in the greens across the eastern and to the western end. What do we see on the GFS? GFS, rainfall north of us, south of us, east of us, just like on the Euro. Then on Sunday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. So I'm guessing there's a flip. It was forecast for it to be very wet on Saturday afternoon on both models. Now it's gonna be more so on Sunday instead of Saturday. In terms of what the Euro is showing for Monday morning, we see some moisture to the south of us. Then on Monday afternoon, we're seeing that rainfall, some isolated showers at that across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Monday morning, rainfall south of us, rainfall northeast of us. Then Monday afternoon, we're seeing rainfall across the eastern, southern, and western parishes. What do we see on Tuesday morning? Tuesday morning, not really seeing much of anything across Jamaica. We see a lot of moisture associated with another frontal system of this, across the southeastern US down into the Gulf. Then on Tuesday afternoon, we're seeing some rainfall across sections of some central and eastern parishes. What does the GFS show? Tuesday morning, rainfall across northern parishes. Tuesday afternoon, rainfall across some eastern, northern, and western parishes. What do we see on Wednesday morning into Thursday now? Wednesday morning, not really seeing much of anything in terms of rainfall. Wednesday afternoon, rainfall across some southern and eastern parishes. Then we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Thursday, December 4th. And as you can see, not really much expected across the island. We see some moisture extending from the Windward Island into the East Central Caribbean. What does the GFS show? Wednesday morning, nothing much on the GFS. Wednesday afternoon, maybe some isolated showers across some northern and western parishes. And just like on the Euro, we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is also valid for Thursday, December 4th. Seeing some moisture across northeastern parishes. We're also seeing that moisture across the eastern Caribbean extending into the East Central Caribbean right there. So very interesting times ahead for the Eastern Caribbean. Looks like they're going to be getting into some rainfall at the end of the next 7 days. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now until Thursday, December 4th. And as you can see, Anywhere you see the dark reds, into the purples, into the pinks, into the peaches, into the slight blues, that represents anywhere from 2 all the way up to maybe 8, maybe 10 inches of rainfall. And we see a lot of that on the Euro for portions of the eastern Yucatan into Belize, also sections of Nicaragua into Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, so too sections of western Venezuela, southern Venezuela, section of Suriname into Guyana right in here. So those areas could get in on some isolated flash flooding. The GFS is also showing something similar, even although the GFS is trying to incorporate the ABC Islands, northeastern Hispaniola, so you're talking about northern Dominican Republic and the far eastern Cuba. Not really seeing that strong of a signal, but yes, there's definitely some dark reds in there. We'll see it actually plays out. While other areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds, we're talking about an inch of rainfall or less for majority of the Greater Antilles, Bahamas into the Lesser Antilles. Regarding Jamaica's rainfall totals for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are also showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Thursday, December 4. And we see on the Euro, Jamaica shaded in the blues and the greens. That represents anywhere from 5 millimeters all the way to maybe 15, maybe 20 millimeters of rainfall. GFS is adamant that the most rainfall should be across the north coast over the next 7 days, especially the northeast where we have Portland, where you see those yellows, maybe up to 30 millimeters. GFS is showing even up to 59 millimeters of rainfall to the north of Portland. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, I will definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Regarding what's happening across the rest of the Caribbean, see some brisk low to mid-level clouds being steered from east to west across the Caribbean, all because of that ridge of high pressure to the north. And we know some of these clouds definitely have some moisture within them. We also see the clouds associated with that frontal system extending from the waters to the east of the US down into Florida and the Gulf. We see a lot of moisture right in here across Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images, what's taking place down there near Puerto Rico right now? Actually, I have some hit or miss rainfall. Look at the greens here, represent some light moderate, even some heavy rainfall in the yellows. In and around Puerto Rico, in and around the US and British Virgin Islands, in and around St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, Guadeloupe, Dominica. Loading these images from earlier today though, we saw where the moisture was pushing from east to west in that flow brought about by the high pressure ridge. Definitely had some moisture across section of Puerto Rico, eastern, central, western Puerto Rico, section of the Leeward Islands, Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat. Definitely gotten on some hit or miss isolated, light to moderate, even some heavy rainfall. The Barbados radar, on the other hand, also shows moisture pushing in from east to west, affecting Dominica, east of Martinique, St. Lucia gotten on some of the action, so too St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, section of Tobago gotten on some of the rainfall as well. And regarding the weather, we have Doppler radar images. We can make out some rainfall across section of Florida, the Yucatan, northern Guatemala, Belize, some rainfall across section of Colombia, passing to the north of the ABC Islands too. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Friday. And we see that the most rainfall should be wherever we have the dark reds into the purples, into the pinks. That's up to 2 to maybe 3, even up to 4 inches of rainfall for portions of Colombia, Panama, and to Costa Rica. While other areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds, we're talking about an inch of rainfall or less for portions of eastern Florida, the Bahamas, section of Cuba, so too section of the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Montserrat, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, southern Venezuela, western Venezuela, Colombia. We also see rainfall expected for coastal Honduras into sections of northern Guatemala, Belize into the eastern portions and northern portion of the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS modes are in agreement with this forecast. So the chances are higher for these things to actually take place. Regarding the Eastern Pacific, as you can see right here, tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days as of their latest update, and this is the reason why nothing trying to acquire the next name on the list at all, which is Sonia. Even though we have some decent thunderstorms right here, there's too much wind shear though, so nothing gonna be acquiring that name, which is Sonia. Regarding what's happening on the Western Pacific side of things and the Indian Ocean side of things, we are watching a brand new typhoon, that's Typhoon Koto. As you can see right here, a lot of shower thunderstorm activity right here just to the east of the Vietnam area. If we take a look, the latest on the system, we have some thunderstorms here and there. It was looking more formidable, but it is dying down a bit. As of the latest update here from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, the latest update right here as of the 27th of November states that it is packing 60 knot winds. We know that systems that pack anywhere from 34 to 64 knot winds are classified as tropical storms. So it is packing 60 knot winds. It was a typhoon, but it has dwindled down. Let's see if they updated it. Okay, there we go. So just reloaded it. They updated it actually. So it was saying typhoon, now it's back to tropical storm status. I guess it just downgraded as of their latest update. As you can see here, it is expected to downgrade in intensity, you know, continuing to do that. 28 of November, 55 knots, 50 knots, 29 of November, 45 knots, 30th of November, 45 knots, 40 knots on December 1, 35 knots on December 2. So it is moving very slowly, expected to push southwestward and northwestward and westward into Vietnam, but clearly weakening as it does so. Regarding tropical cyclone Ditwa, a system right here across the Indian Ocean, it actually made landfall in Sri Lanka. It is right here on land as we speak. 35 knots is what it is packing, and the more it pushes northward, the more it weakens, as you can see here. 30 knots, 30 knots, 25 knots, the more north it pushes. As a matter of fact, this is actually the first time in a long time that a system has made landfall in Sri Lanka here in the Indian Ocean. That back perch weather, if you haven't been following this page, you need to. It's on Twitter. They've stated landfall for only the 5th time in recorded history and the first since 1992. A cyclone has made landfall over the island of Sri Lanka in the month of November, peaking so far at 40 miles per hour. Tropical storm Ditwa is causing disastrous landslides and raging flash floods today as he moves across Sri Lanka despite his very weak wind speeds. At least 47 casualties have sadly been reported, with another 25 plus missing. Boy, this is what these systems do in general. Alright, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with any more updates that we get. Thank you all for watching. That's it for today.